everybody, my name is Shortline819 and welcome back to a Shortline Rail News and Comment short. And it's been about a week since the UP-NS story first broke. But what was just a rumor is now official. UP and NS have officially come out and confirmed they are in merger talks, and has released an official statement saying as much. However, the two parties are still being very tight-lipped about the whole thing. As I'm making this, Bloomberg reported that UP and NS could come to a deal as soon as this week, maybe even by the time you see this. Now, normally I wouldn't make a video on just the confirmation of a rumor, however there has been some additional news, plus I want to talk about BNSF's potential response, more on that in a bit. First, CSX had their Q2 earnings call on July 23rd, and CEO Joe Hinrichs addressed the topic. He said that CSX's primary focus right now was traffic growth by making railroads easier to work with. However, he has stated that the company is open to any possibility to achieve this, which one could interpret as merger. Reuters also reported that CSX is talking to investment bankers. Additionally, the Surface Transportation Board has put out a merger resources website containing various statutes and regulations, procedures, past decisions, and a timeline, signaling to everybody that they are taking the possibility of a merger very seriously. Now, there was a bit of a media scuffle concerning BNSF and their reaction to UP-NS. On July 21st, Semaphore reported that BNSF hired investment bankers Goldman Sachs to advise them on a merger. However, on July 22nd, Warren Buffett, the chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, which owns BNSF, told CNBC that this was false. Buffett stated that BNSF would not be consulting any bankers concerning mergers because they are, quote, predisposed in favor of making deals, unquote. This doesn't mean that BNSF is not looking at a merger, they certainly are, but that they're just adopting a more cautious strategy. What is this strategy? In my opinion, based on my speculation, I believe that BNSF is likely holding secretive talks with CSX about a countermerger to UP-NS, while also holding back to see if UP-NS talks lead anywhere. If they don't and the whole merger talk fizzles out, there's no harm on BNSF's part. The status quo remains and BNSF won't execute any merger themselves. If UP and NS do come to a merger agreement, BNSF will already have a foot in the door with CSX. Waiting also plays into BNSF's financial strategy. Berkshire Hathaway, despite sitting on a war chest of $350+ billion, is not willing to overpay for companies. We saw this back during the KCS merger saga, with Buffett coming out and saying the Canadians were overbidding for KCS. Shortly after, SEC filings mentioned a secret unnamed third bidder for KCS, and the fact that BNSF was actively looking to expand into Mexico, leading credence to the theory that BNSF had looked into buying KCS, but backed out all after the price had gotten way above what they were willing to pay. Additionally, whoever gets bought first is likely to pay a higher premium, a premium being the amount above the stock price that a company is willing to pay for its acquisition. Since BNSF is waiting to see if UP and NS strike a deal first, any acquisition of CSX would end up costing less than if they struck first. Now, there is always the possibility that BNSF decides to engage in a bidding war with UP for NS, considering many see BNSF NS as a better fit, myself included. There's also the possibility that BNSF's cautious strategy might open the door for someone else to buy CSX, like the Canadians or Grupo Mexico if you want to get hyper-cursed. However, considering the players involved and the broader political economic situation that we find ourselves in, I find these possibilities very unlikely, but they can't be fully discounted. As for my odds of any such merger getting approval, if you asked me this question a few years ago, I would have said less than 10%. When UP-NS first leaked, I said it was around 30%. However, I think it might be higher now, considering there hasn't been the kind of visceral backlash we've seen in past mergers like CP-NS or CM-BNSF. Of course, a lot of that depends on how effective a political case the railroads can make before the regulators and the public at large. So we will have to wait and see. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you to Arkansas Locomotive Works for the footage used, and all additional credits are in the description. Now, I am starting the semester in early August, so I don't know to what degree I'll be able to cover these events as they unfold, but I will try. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one, and goodbye everybody.